Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream scene. We are back in action, bringing back cooking streams 101, or I guess this is 202 at this point because we're actually doing advanced cooking streams for those that are maybe more established and kind of want to get into the nitty gritty of like the more advanced stuff. So before we get into that, though, I got to introduce my co-host, the Hunter Wild. How's it going, Hunter?
You got it.
I did it.
Hi, and thank you. I'm doing pretty fantastic today, and I'm really excited to actually get a full stream in. Hopefully,
Don't jinx it now.
Please be on our side. Fortunately, I'm not superstitious. I just believe in the Twitch gods. That's it.
I thought you were gonna go for the little stitious joke, and I was like, please don't, please. I'm not superstitious. I'm only a little stitious.
I've never heard that before.
Really?
Yeah, that's new to me.
No.
That's in the pocket now.
No.
You just
done.
gave me the joke. Huh.
What have I done?
Not sure. What are we doing? Oh, cookie streams. Okay. So last time that we attempted this, Twitch decided to break. So we're coming back for a round 2 and actually bringing up some more advanced topics on the subject. Fortunately, both of our esteemed and brilliant guests could come back for a second round. The Hunger Service and SushiDey. Boom! Welcome back, my friends.
Nailed it.
If you want to introduce yourselves, I don't remember how we did it last time. Was there arm wrestling, or how did we decide who went first on introductions?
Oh,
There it
gotcha
is.
this time.
Hi,
I went first last time.
Okay, but hi, I'm LA. I'm the Hunger Service. I'm a former sushi chef of 10 years, turned photographer, turned Twitch streamer. I started streaming on Twitch February 2017, so I've been on the platform for 3 years and 4 months, 3 months, almost 4 months now. So yeah, I'm glad to be back.
All right. SushiDey?
And I'm SushiDey. I'm Allison. I've been streaming for about 2.5 years, since November of 2017. And I'm also a programmer, so that's what I do most of my time. So the streaming thing is a for fun thing that we get to do, but we've been really enjoying it. So
Heck yeah.
That is awesome. So, like I said, this is going to be for kind of more advanced stuff. We're kind of going to jump right into it. If you guys want to check out our last episode with some basic tips about setting up your very first cooking stream, definitely check out the link in chat. We'll have that ready for you. So feel free to ask one of the mods, and yeah, we'll link it for you. So
On it.
So I guess I don't know where exactly we left off last time. But I know one thing we didn't talk about was kind of we talked about like the basic setup, like the equipment you need, but we really didn't get into the more specifics, and also how it looks on stream. Like, what are the ideal camera angles for chopping versus like cooking on the stove, and also like making sure they see your face or your like you probably
No hands or...
maybe.
I guess I'll start. I always, when I started doing cooking streams, I always wanted to cook toward the camera. That way, I was never back up facing the camera. Like I have a stove behind me. Well, I mean, not in here, but like,
I was like,
on my
where?
stream. And I always found it disconnecting to be completely turned around away from the camera. So my thought was always to cook toward where chat would be. That way I don't like get that like weird like, oh, he's not looking at chat kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So always wanted to do like maybe like 2 more cameras besides that, to do both like workspace and cooking space. So that was always my thought, minimum 2, maybe 2 to 3 cameras to establish like kind of a flow as far as where a viewer would look when they're watching the stream.
yeah, I agree. We were really lucky to just happen to have a kitchen that has the stovetop facing out. So we didn't even have to do anything for that, which worked great. But I do like having that where I'm always facing towards the camera. So it's a lot easier to keep an eye on chat. It's a lot easier to have that conversation with the camera. And then definitely, like LA was saying, something that focuses on your food. or on what you're doing is always another good thing to have for a cooking stream. People want to see the food, but they also want to see you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I feel like with streaming, like the most enticing thing is building a connection with the person, but then with cooking, you kind of want to see that food, right? So I feel like you got to have a couple of different cameras set up, or one that might be kind of like mobile, maybe like a stand that you can kind of pick up and move to different spots, maybe. I don't know.
Okay. So yeah, for it, I think it definitely depends on your stream and how many cameras you have, first of all, because if you already have one over like your cooktop, then you maybe don't need to move the cameras as often. For us, we only have 2 cameras. So we have the static camera that's always looking at me, and as the kitchen as a whole. And then we have the smaller close-up camera that we have on a Gorilla Pod that we can move around to whatever the focus is or whatever looks really good at that time. So that one we're constantly moving around, changing the positioning, all that to get the super sexy food shots.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, one thing to think about also is you're trying to cook and you're trying to talk to chat and you're trying to make sure your stream doesn't crash and burn in a fire. Do you have the capacity to also like worry about constantly moving the camera around? Like, especially if like, I feel like if you're constantly moving it, it can kind of interrupt like the flow of the stream as well. Like you kind of want to make it as smooth as possible, I feel. So definitely something to think about when you're trying to like, you know, set up your cameras.
Do you do that? Do you do that like off scene? Like if you're not on the scene that has the camera that you're
Well,
moving?
because you don't want the camera like jiggling all over
Yeah,
the place
yeah.
while people are looking through it and making people really, really dizzy. So yeah, I will do it with no when you're not using that camera. But I feel like it's one of those things, kind of like getting used to talking to chat. It's just one of those things that at first it's going to be really awkward, and you're going to be like, oh gosh, I have to move. I have to remember to do this. But having done it for 2.5 years, it's now almost second nature. Like sometimes it'll be like, oh, I just started doing a thing and I have messy hands and I can't move the camera. You're just gonna have to deal. Or like son will come and move it for me. But most of the time it's gotten a lot more natural to do.
So yeah, I have I was going to say I have my cameras on arms that look like this in my kitchen, so it's like not too hard to move things around.
Oh yeah.
And it definitely off scene, like just like pull it a certain way and then just have it look down. But that's one thing that I like love is having the arms with the webcams on them. So
yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. So what about like the overlays on your stream? Like do you have like what does the setup look like for someone that's watching? Do you have different cameras on one scene or just one camera per scene or like a mix of both, I guess?
Overlay of a tiny one with a big one and swap in between them.
As the stream progresses for me, it starts out with just me, like with the intro, just the camera of me in the kitchen. Then like the next scene will be me and just the cutting board. Like so it would just be like a tiny box of me in the corner and then the cutting board being the main thing, and then slowly progress to like 3 cameras where I'm working on both the cutting board and the cooktop. So that's how mine flows. It's just like kind of like it escalates as the stream goes on and then comes back down to from there back to the cutting board where I plate and then back to just me being like, here's the food, you know? So
yeah, I feel like Ellie's is a little more of like an actual production than mine is. Mine, we just have 2 scenes. One is you're looking at me in the kitchen and that's it. The other one is I'm in the corner and then you've got the food, the close-up camera. So we kind of just switch back and forth depending on what I'm doing. It's not so fancy of a production.
Sometimes additional elements are very good, but other times it can be, cumbersome and burdensome.
And I also think it depends on your stream. Like what works for one stream is not necessarily going to work for somebody else's stream.
Very true.
So it really depends on you and what works for you.
What about alerts and stuff? Do you guys have like alerts that pop up? Can you even like hear those or see those?
Yes, I have mine. Actually, like for a lot of streamers, you can't have speakers running, and like have those alerts coming through speakers because they'll come back through the microphone. But like since I'm in such an open space, I have mine just coming through a speaker, so I could hear my alerts and stuff like that. And it's almost like a fun thing that chat likes to mess around with, because I like, it's such another streamer thing, just streamer things, right?
Yeah.
Like people want to set up alerts, and mine go off just like a typical gaming streamer would.
Yeah, we don't have audio alerts for ours, but we just have we custom developed our own, but they just come up in the corner, so not anything big
Hers
and
are
fancy.
really, really clean too. Like I was like, when I first stopped into Allison's stream, I was like, wow, this is really, really nice. What kind
So
of platform
clear,
are you
so
using? And you're
cute.
like, I made it myself. I'm like,
Dang
programmers.
it.
I was thinking, yeah, you've got in-house tools for this.
That's really
Yeah.
awesome. So, so you don't have any audio cue. How do you like acknowledge
Well, 'cause
the
I'm
subs and
always
stuff?
looking over at it, so I'll verbally acknowledge it.
Hmm.
And pretty much everything that people can do forces us to do some sort of workout. It's just one of our things. So like we have to be aware of what's coming in, and be able to respond to that and add it to our workout list.
Hmm.
Now, what about audio setup with the microphones? Because I was so hungry for this last time. Walk us through the audio setup that you've got and the audio setup that you want. I'm also going to turn my volume up because apparently that's an issue. Let me know if it's a problem here.
That's
Allison,
good.
Allison first.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
audio.
Okay,
Microphone.
go ahead. Okay, so for our stream, Sun is using an AT2035 microphone. He has that just set up in the corner. I'm using the Sennheiser G4 112 lavalier mic.
Nice.
So that's what we've got. We are pretty happy with it. We started with some lower quality stuff like way back at the beginning. And so we've upgraded to this. And I think audio wise, he wants to upgrade his mic to like this, which is, hold on, I have everything written down. The Shure SM7B. I was like, I know you're gonna ask these things. I got it. So yeah, he's been wanting to upgrade his mic because this is my setup for our YouTube stuff and our podcasting stuff. So I've got the fancy mic right now. But aside from that, I think we're pretty happy with our audio setup.
Mine is very, very simple. I have one Blue Yeti mic mounted just like this over my entire setup. That way they can hear the kitchen sounds and like me cutting and like, stuff sizzling on the pan. I can move it around to get more of anything that's particularly happening. So like,
Interesting.
if you can bring it closer to the cabbage as you're chopping, I'll just pull it down closer to the cabbage and
cooking ASMR. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a thing apparently.
I like it.
Yeah, people enjoy hearing all those.
Oh
sounds
heck
and,
yeah!
like, present in the kitchen. I experimented with a lav mic at one point. It was okay, but it was also a crappy lav mic. So, but I'd like to add like dedicated small dedicated microphones to those specific spots in my kitchen.
Yeah,
it'd be weird to balance it out with me.
I'm doing this
over that. So. But yeah, that would be kind of like a dream setup thing.
Yeah.
We call it the sizzle mic.
Yeah, so that's interesting. Like, does your Yeti, like, do you feel like you have to yell over the cooking sometimes because you got like the fan on, this is sizzling and crackling? Like,
that's the one for me, is the fan.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll just move it. I'll just move it closer to where I am. So like that's how I balance the audio, is like, it's like very
physical placement.
Yeah, like just move
That's
it.
That's the nice thing about having it on the arm that you can move.
Yeah.
Just so like, say something's like really, really sizzling on my left, I'll just pull the mic closer to me on the center, so that it'll only pick up so much from there and me more. So yeah, so instead of like messing around with like knobs and stuff, I'm just like, well, here you go.
I can already tell you how effective that is because I'm not exaggerating, I just started to get hungry when you were talking about the sizzly sounds. So actually hearing them, that has to be like really, really valuable. That's
Oh,
like
yeah,
actually
people
adds
love
something to
it.
it.
Satisfying.
And then get mad at us for making them hungry.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're
Yeah.
watching cooking,
That's actually interesting
Everybody
because.
wants-
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say everybody wants to hear about your radio voice, LA.
Oh yeah. One thing I want to say though, it's kind of interesting because with like streaming when you're talking or playing games, like most of the time the advice is like you got to get rid of the background sound, you got to clean up your audio, like you don't want like random dogs barking or the grass being mowed or something. And then with this, it's like actually you need to think about what sounds are getting through and making sure you're not cutting those sounds out because it actually really adds to the viewing experience.
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, and finding that balance between indoor sounds that you want versus the outdoor sounds that you don't want is can be interesting.
Yeah, but what were we saying, Hunger Service?
Oh, I don't know.
Radio voice?
About your
Oh
radio voice.
yeah, radio voice.
On my stream I do this radio voice when I get rated, and it's just something that people come to expect and like pull the mic really close to me and I do this radio spiel like I don't know.
Okay, pretend we just got rated. What was? Welcome then.
How's it go? I gotta mentally get back into this space. You're like the streamer score is brought to you by twitch.tv and the support of viewers and streamers like Lowco, the Hunter Wild, SushiDey, and the Hunger Service.
Can we
Stuff like that.
record? Can you?
You want to get that later?
Yeah,
Well,
can
we
someone
do it,
clip
though.
that?
Huh.
Yeah, it's just something I do, and that's one of the weird like microphone things I mess with. I just bring it close to me and I go into my spiel about the Hunger Service and what's been happening. So
It's so buttery.
it's a lot of practice.
Yeah.
Look, good audio is important no matter what type of streaming you're doing.
Oh my goodness, yes.
So are you guys so you kind of mentioned you might be looking to like upgrade your audio a little bit. Like what would be your ideal audio setup?
Ideally, like maybe a couple like shotgun mics like above, like just to get more audio from specific parts of the kitchen. But like I like want to like do a complete overhaul, get a new computer in there because I'm like right now I'm using just this tiny like mini PC that sits on the back of my monitor in the kitchen and that runs everything. Yeah, I mean I don't need like heavy graphics cards or anything like that. It's just USBs are my biggest like, you know, crutch right now. I need like a ton of USBs to run everything. But yeah, it's just this tiny NUC that sits on the back. But yeah, that's my like I need to upgrade like everything.
Yeah, the more cameras that you have that are like C920 or you utilize a USB port, even with like, you know, an Elgato Camlink, yeah.
Yep.
Like all of those they just plug right into those ports, and you got to make sure that you're not overloading them with the data that they're having to move through. So probably a couple of additional.
Yeah.
Well,
my cameras are already fighting with each other right now, so I'm just like, because I just started using a cam link recently, so so they're definitely fighting with each other right now.
Well, yeah, I feel like you want to. I don't know what resolution you guys stream at, but you probably are shooting for 1080p because no one wants to look at blurry food like.
We've actually had to turn our resolution down because we've been dropping so many frames because so many people are at home streaming things right now that like our internet is not happy. So we've had to turn down our resolution in the last few months. But before that, we were going for as high as we can get away with.
Yeah. So did you guys mention what kind of cameras you use, by the way? Did I glance over that?
We might have talked about that last time, but
I think we got into it a little bit last time, but that might have also been when Twitch crashed.
yeah, because we kept talking for like another 10 minutes after the stream went down.
Or you just pretended the show is still going. Like we're like maybe some people can hear us. I don't know.
Yeah. So what are y'all using? And still always looking for those ideas for what the ideal setup is.
Mhm.
What are you using now, and then what would you really like to, if you've got an eye on what you'd really like to use in the future?
All right, so we are using a Canon 5D Mark III for our main camera. And then the little camera that we're using for food close-ups is the Sony RX100 M4. I think we're pretty happy for the most part with our main camera because we've actually tried upgrading that to this camera, which is the Sony A7 III. But we found that
Nice one.
because the Canon that we have, it has a fixed I'm losing words right now, but it blurs out the background pretty much. It won't change
Yeah.
your focus, which blurs out the kitchen nicely and makes it look so pretty, and you can't see the mess. Whereas this one has autofocus, and so if I go out of the screen, you can see the mess in the background. It's like, oh, that's not so nice. So we've actually preferred to keep it with the one that doesn't have autofocus. But we would love to upgrade our close-up, like in a perfect world where we have lots of money to throw at this, we would love to upgrade the close-up camera to just something that can give just amazing food shots. But you also don't want a really expensive camera up near the spitting oil unless
Turns
you have a
out that's a
lot of
little
money to throw at
dangerous, isn't it?
it. A little bit, just a little bit. I don't know. But yeah, so and then I think fantasy setup would also be just adding more cameras. So being able, like, it would be so cool to have an oven cam, or to be able to have more cameras so we don't have to be moving things around. So maybe have a setup a little closer to LA's setup where we've got different cameras from different angles that are just kind of there. Yeah.
Mm. Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel like
right
at
now
that point you would need like a production assistant or someone, right? Like to run, like to switch all the cameras and stuff.
I mean, I do have my husband as part of the stream, and he's always switching cameras, switching scenes
Mm.
for us anyways.
Okay.
So I do kind of have that
So
built
there you
in.
go. It's like a free helper. There you go.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think I want to get married again just for that.
Benefits, right?
It's a good perk. Highly recommended.
Yeah, my setup is just right now I'm running two webcams, running a C922X and Microsoft Live Cam because the surprisingly the Microsoft Live cams don't fight with anything. Like I have they're like very plug and play, and like that's what I need when they're not fighting with
The
each other.
C920s clash all the
Yeah,
time.
they do.
Yeah, with how the drivers
installed
work. Yeah.
third-party software to make the C920s work with each other.
Yeah.
And this part has changed a few times, and I'm still messing with it. I used to use my 5D Mark III as a webcam, as a board cam for a while, and then I just recently got an A6000, a Sony A6000 with a cam link, and that's what I've been. That's my current setup. I want to bring back the 5D Mark III into my setup. We'll see, because it's like, again, they're all fighting with each other right now, so. Maybe when I upgrade, it'll come back.
Only the strong survive.
Yeah, I mean, I use my 5D Mark III as my main photography camera too, so I don't, I'm like, you could rest when I'm not streaming, so like it still works for like my other gigs. So, but yeah, I would like to add it back, but we'll see what happens in the next couple months.
Yeah, I mean, cameras are like, you get to those cameras and each one is like super expensive, and then like you're like, well, you got to get different angles, right? Like you got to set them up, like, I feel like it's like an addiction to just keep expanding.
Yes.
I love the look of the 5D Mark III as a webcam. It's like so freaking crisp and clear, and my photographer heart like jumps for joy when I see it on stream. But I know, like it is also, I think right now it's like a $2,500 camera just for the body, no lens.
Wow.
So,
really?
So, yeah.
That's insane. So are you guys transparent about like what you're working towards upgrading? Do you have like a wish list or like goals for like your stream upgrades?
We don't really I think it's more in the sense of we're not actively looking to upgrade right now. I think we're pretty happy with the stuff that we have. It's in a good maintenance mode where like everything's good, everything's happy, it's a good enough quality that we're okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
And if like we won the lottery, maybe we'd change things, but for now we're not really looking. So it's not necessarily that we're not transparent, but we're just not really planning anything.
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of in the same mode. Like I have goals for the stream, and I like things I know I want to eventually upgrade, but it's like not something I'm like currently like actively pursuing because despite it all, the like when everything runs perfectly, it runs really really nicely, and I'm like, this is okay, and it's like if it ain't broke, don't fix
Yeah.
it kind of
Fair.
thing. So
Yeah.
Sometimes adding more features is adding more problems.
right, yeah, exactly.
Yep. I mean, and so in that same vein, how does sustaining the stream as a business work when it comes to cooking streams? So like monetization options. What are we looking at with that kind of stuff? Incentives, sponsorships, affiliateships,
What's out there?
things that are unique. What's that?
So what's out there?
What's out there?
I'll let you take this one first, Allison,
Oh,
because you're
okay.
the blogger.
I'm a terrible person to ask though, because I was not a good blogger either. I know that some people have gotten sponsorships. That's not something that we've done or really pursued that much. I see the thing for me is streaming is more of a hobby for us because we're programmers and we can make a lot more money doing programming things than we can ever really reasonably expect to from streaming. And I think it's also a little difficult with cooking streams because we tend to not get as big as gaming streams do.
Hmm.
So, and it's also not so many people know about cooking as a thing on Twitch. So it's a little harder to sell the idea of like sponsor me as a cooking stream who's maybe around 50 viewers versus like this gaming stream who's in the tens of thousands or something. So I haven't really pursued that much. But on the other hand, we do things that like incentivizing people to sub or donate or give bits and stuff like that. We've done a few things that people seem to enjoy on stream that have helped us make more money through streaming, such as we have the 6-month 6-pack challenge that's been going for a year and a half now. Pretty much if you in some way give us money, you can choose to either give me an exercise to do or you can make my husband do an exercise. But whoever gets 6-pack first, the other person has to, if I get the 6-pack, he has to do a Just Dance stream. If he gets a 6-pack, I have to do a Twitch Sing stream. So it's kind of this competition, but also it's just very, very goofy. Like neither of us are very good at this workout thing. So it's kind of comedy, kind of a lot of torturing us. And people seem to like that. And
You
the
have
other
to
thing
do
that
this during the cooking stream?
Oh yeah, we do it during
Oh.
stream. We do it on stream. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's fun. So you just like see Sun whining about workouts in the background. Pretty much is how it goes. And we also, I think I kind of touched on this a little bit last time, but we used to have these showdowns that we do that are essentially like Chopped. And so when we are doing the showdown, they can donate or sub or whatever to kind of penalize us. So people have enjoyed doing that as well. So I think it's finding the incentives that your chat community likes, and that's going to be different for every streamer.
Yeah, I can definitely attest to that. My thing with incentivizing on stream is it should never ruin the food I'm making, because I never want that to be like a goal of like just some random troll like sliding through and be like, put 5 tablespoons of salt in your food.
Yeah.
Like, oh well, great, but this is it. But like
I could work with that.
A lot of my incentives involve the bits and subs, and there's always, for a while, the sub goal would always lead to like a specific recipe that was a little bit on the like pricier side, say beef Wellington or like a huge pot of pho or something like that. And then on a daily, Bean Boozled Beans, for some reason my chat loves giving me Bean Boozled Beans.
What do you mean for some reason?
They're disgusting.
We know the reason. It's horrifying though.
And then there are other things as far as that is concerned. Like I have this absurdly large knife that I'm required to use if I hit certain goals. It's just more of an annoyance than anything.
Is it a two-hander? Is that like how big it is?
It's 22 inches long.
Sweet
it's
Christmas.
as large as my cutting board, and it's just bothersome. There's also like if I hit a certain goal, I have to make a gross recipe from the 50s, which people seem to like gelatinized Vienna sausages. It's
that's gross.
Yeah.
As far as outside of Twitch is concerned, the sponsorship thing is an interesting place right now because considering the current state of affairs as far as the world's concerned, companies are finally like kind of turning their eye toward streamers as far as like, well, how are we going to advertise this product and such. So it's still a little Wild West, and it's a little interesting. Like I know like every so often there'll be an affiliate ship that slides through. Is like pick one free thing and you have to feature it on your Instagram 8 times. I'm like but yeah, that's still interesting to see come up every so often for me. Outside of that, it's personal merchandise and stuff like that, like stuff you'd make on your own and then send out yourself.
How do you think this might change for people who don't do cooking streams as a core component of their streams, do the occasional, whenever they want, or once a month, or maybe they hit a sub goal or whatever, they do a cooking stream? How do you think on-stream incentivization for tips and cheers and subs might differ? Like, do you think ruining the food may be an acceptable practice there? Because it's like, it's technically we're cooking here, but really this is just entertainment that happens to be cooking stuff. Do you think that varies?
I think it would vary from streamer to streamer. It depends on how their chat is. I tend to hope that my chat's relatively wholesome, so they prefer not for me to ruin the food.
What did you just say about Bean Boozled? Like, I don't think
my chat's so wholesome.
Relatively wholesome.
Few exceptions. A few.
But yeah, I don't think that would necessarily be a constant cooking streamer versus a once in a while cooking streamer thing, but a lot more just depends on the streamer themselves. Because some people are like, well, there's only so much I can afford, or like I really am against wasting food, or whatever. And some people are kind of like, you know what, I can goof off, I can make silly things. Like generally for my stream, we very much try not to waste food, but like we since we do the showdowns and chat can choose the ingredients, sometimes we come up with some very gross things. Sometimes it doesn't turn out very well. So we're a little, and that's also kind of why we've pulled back on the showdowns since the quarantine and all of that, is like, I don't feel as okay with making something that we might not enjoy, that we might just want to throw away.
Right.
And it also is harder to get weird ingredients right now. But I think it really depends on the context.
Yeah, and I feel like with every gimmick, it's going to get old. Like if you do a cooking stream, I mean, even with the number of cooking streams, you guys don't do them every single day. Obviously, like there's logistical reasons, but it probably like, you got to keep things fresh. I feel like it's harder to do that when you're like just trying to like keep up with doing the cooking streams themselves. And I feel like, with gimmicks and stuff, like it's only so entertaining to watch someone destroy their food so often, right? Like you see it a lot with like charity streams and stuff, and like eating gross things, and like I feel like every now and then for like subathons or something, you do something that you normally wouldn't do. But yeah, I think it's across the board it's like fine, but like it's gonna lose interest if you do it too often. So yeah. I wanted to ask more about sponsorships, just kind of to throw it out there. If you could have your ideal sponsorship, what would that look like? Like, is there a certain company in mind? Is there a certain type of stream you'd want to do? Like dream sponsorship deal?
Would you do meal kits?
If we're talking about pie in the sky, somebody redo my kitchen, please. I'd be fine with that. I'd be totally. Or like, can we get sponsored by a real nice like Sony? Do you want to sponsor us with some camera? But
There
like
you go.
realistically, I think it would be really cool to be sponsored by companies whose ingredients I use often. So like Kikkoman, for example, I use their soy sauce all the freaking time. So that would be a great sponsorship because I'm already willing to say good things about them.
Yep.
Yeah, you've got you have product placement too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Like,
Exactly.
would be nice. Like
Yeah.
KitchenAid, Vitamix, like you name it. Like I would love to, or like Cuisinart, any of the big like kitchen culinary like appliances or tools would be nice to have like just using their equipment in my stream.
And
That'd be like yeah.
A lot of those companies have been willing to sponsor food bloggers.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like in time they might be more willing to work with streamers and be willing to talk to us because they're already kind of in the sponsorship business. So
more receptive.
might be something worth looking into for us at some point.
Yeah. We've talked about this in the past with creative streamers and bridging the gap between a non-endemic sponsorship and trying to kind of explain why it would be valuable to sponsor a stream when they're using your stuff. I think that bridge is getting easier because Twitch is growing in popularity. I mean, you just look at the music directory, like that's blowing up as well. So I feel like it is getting easier. And I think it really is just like, it's up to the streamers to put the work in to try to like, shoot your shot, right? Like make a nice marketing deck, illustrate why it would be valuable to them. Shoot some emails, some cold emails, and see if you get any bites on it.
LA, have you done anything like that?
I have a little media kit that I'll randomly send out to just companies and see if like I get I'm just fishing at that point, or if I have a connection with someone that
have you gotten any bites yet?
From non cooking places.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like it's something that I feel like I can improve on like otherwise, because like that's something I just started doing last year because I finally felt comfortable like putting myself out there and being like, hey, I'm a cooking streamer and this is what I do. Like,
Nice.
And I think that's part of the other thing is like my stream, we're not partnered yet, so it kind of feels like who the heck am I to even try to reach out, which I'm sure I could do some stuff, but I do still feel like that partnership adds a little bit of legitimacy. Like, oh, hey, I'm a partner on Twitch, so like I can, I have something to provide to you in return for the sponsorship. So I do wonder if that would work better for people who are partnered versus people who are not.
Maybe. The thing that comes to mind for me is that especially these, like Loco said, these non-endemic brands don't know the difference.
True.
They literally don't know what partner means,
Right,
or what it implies. So you might much more easily be capable of landing a sponsorship in exactly this space without partnership.
I feel like it's one of those things where like if you have a partnership, like you say that you're a Twitch partner, that adds some leverage, but like the absence of that information for a company that has no idea what Twitch is, like they don't really know what they're missing,
They don't know what's missing.
I think an important thing to realize is and you see this you see community managers talk about this where Twitch affiliates or smaller streamers will reach out to companies for a code or like to do something with the game company, and they'll be like, oh, I'm just a small streamer, but like I want to do something. And I think there's a lot to be said about just having confidence in what you are doing and the quality of your content and what you want to do, like painting a picture of what you can do for that company, why it's a valuable relationship, I think goes far above and beyond just saying you're a partner and like, just throwing some stats at them, right?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
So to kind of continue along this conversation, I want to talk about marketing. how do you market your stream, or especially like with different platforms, social media? How do you market what you're doing with cooking streams?
For the most part, like it's very much, Instagram's always been big as far as food's concerned. I mean, that's where like food
Yeah.
photos were like, made their home on the internet, right? And it's not only that, but like I'm part of some foodie forums on other platforms where people are always posting about their own food and what they make, and I will go there and like post my food photos and be like, yeah, I make this on stream, like you like stop on by. And I'm trying to like not only appeal to a Twitch audience who is unaware of cooking content, but brand new people who are unaware of Twitch.
That's
And
so smart.
trying to bring new people into the platform versus like trying to poach viewers from everywhere else on the platform and be like, hey, like have you ever been on Twitch before? Because this is a cool little thing that like I do on here.
That's a really good point, right? Because viewers who have been watching, I feel like the longer you've been watching Twitch, the more likely you are to have found a home, and the far less likely you are to jump over and move to a new community or start watching a new streamer. It seems less and less likely. Finding people who have not been here, like you establish their home base on your channel by moving them from outside to in.
Yeah, no, that's so smart. And I feel like this is something where Twitch could really help out more in. And like, just look at the music directory. Similar story, right? It's like, it wasn't really buzzing. It was doing okay. A lot of just like 24/7 streams, but growth was like kind of tough to just do music. And now, with everything that's happening, it's exploded. They did the big charity event where they had a lot of musicians come on, and now we have music at the top of the pages now.
Yeah.
Like it's absolutely exploded. Like Twitch has that capability of lifting these kind of niche directories that aren't gaming related, and so what you're doing just makes perfect sense. Like if Twitch could do that at a bigger scale, that would be amazing for the cooking directory and all, like overall. But I think what you're doing is a good exercise, because it really does help. Like you want to get those people that haven't heard of Twitch to come on, because those are the people that want to watch cooking streams, right? Because otherwise if you're just streaming within the directory and hoping that people find you, right now it's just super hard.
Yeah.
I always it's like one of those things, like, yeah, it would be nice if Twitch could like put cooking on the top bar, but like I feel like it's yeah, right, it'd be amazing, right? But like I think it's still each individual streamer's like duty, I guess would be a word to use, to build up their own stream in a way. Because like, yeah, we could ask Twitch to do all that stuff, but I'm like, it's still, we have to be kind of self-determining too.
For sure. Yeah.
Self-starter.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I mean, we do kind of have to prove our own popularity before Twitch is going to believe that, oh, you are actually
right.
somebody that we should pay attention to.
That's fair and true.
Yeah, I mean, but also like with like how music blew up, like I think they should see the potential of these non-gaming streams that are like could really pop off,
Especially right now. And I think that's like that's part of why I was a part of the introduction that I gave the last time we did the cooking show three weeks ago, or whenever it was that cooking itself has exploded in popularity because of, like, during the pandemic situation, because of how much people are staying at home. I feel like it's just a prime time for Twitch to like capitalize on exactly this. And imagine like on that larger corporate scale, being able to roll in on that bigger end, sponsorships baked right into Twitch. Like if you put a food tab right up at the top, can you imagine if you also tethered that to Blue Apron and Uber Eats, right? Like you're watching the cooking happening, and then you can also place orders for food because you're getting hungry, right? And you just like pair this like right into like how the site just functions. I think it'd be an amazing combo, and it would be like a triple whammy. Because y'all would get all the benefit from that. It would be drawing in more people, increasing the popularity, to be reporting on it site-wide, right? Like that this is a new huge thing. just a lot of benefit to it. I'd love to see it.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys would too.
Be great. Not complain at all.
I mean, so
Where do we
obviously,
sign up? Like, you know?
obviously we can only like ask the Twitch gods, you know, for so much. So, you know, back to what you were saying, Hunger, about, you know, making your own marketing. So you talked first about Instagram. So posting your pictures on Instagram. Are there any tips and tricks for getting growth on that platform?
I mean, like it's always one of those things where you to build a community, you have to be part of a community, kind of sort of, and like
Reach.
you gotta, I mean, like be involved in foodie communities and like be present and show that like I'm doing this stuff and appreciate what they're doing and kind of like working that angle, because like I'll like hit up hashtags and see who's cooking what and like see if someone made the same dish that I've made and like just like pop off likes and comments and stuff. I mean, it's very much ground running, you know, like I gotta hit the ground and just like, yeah, you know, shake hands and kiss babies pretty much.
Yeah, exactly. The political approach,
Right? But yeah, I mean, for the most part, that's just being consistent on the platform, which I haven't been the last couple of weeks. But
and super sexy food photos.
Yes, important. Like you gotta dress it up a little bit, right? You can't just walk out there in casual. You know, right?
I got a question on that one. Do you think that it's worth it to actually go through the process of reading, watching stuff on how to take good photos?
Absolutely.
As opposed to the thing that I'm certainly prone to, which is this photo is garbage. How many filters can I put on it to ungarbage it?
In photography, it's always better to do things without post and then use post to enhance versus fix.
And there's so many things you can do without necessarily upgrading your equipment. There's so many tips and tricks, and I would say food blogs are a good place to look for this because it's been such a big topic in food blogs for more than a decade now about how to take good food photos. And it's about your lighting, it's about your positioning, it's about what props are you using, stuff like that. There's so much you can do without even, I mean, just like use your iPhone to take the picture. You can still get really good pictures if you know what you're doing.
Yep.
But yeah, it does make a big difference.
So plating is very important. Taking the picture, very important. Do you guys use Instagram stories? Does that do anything for you? I don't know, like during your cooking process, maybe, or maybe just like, I know some people do it when they go live. They're like, you know, they do like a video like, hey, like I'm streaming, check me out. Like, because I feel like one of the challenges is growing Instagram first, but then getting those people onto your Twitch stream.
Yep.
I have not used Instagram stories enough or consistently enough to really say if it makes a difference. But it also might depend on the person and how you use them, or how, like, if that's gonna be the thing that you do, then people will get used to that. And I think that's another big thing with social media is people get used to however you choose to market yourself.
Yeah.
So if you're always tweeting, then people will start to expect those tweets. If you're always putting it on Instagram, people are going to start to expect that. Whereas if you're always tweeting and then all of a sudden you start putting things on Instagram, but nobody follows you yet, then like that's great, but it's not necessarily doing anything until you build up that Instagram. So yeah, I don't know if that actually said anything.
No, I
that was
definitely
food for
think
thought
it
on
does.
like 3 points.
Yeah, for sure. So what about YouTube? Do you guys put VODs up on YouTube? Highlights on YouTube? I mean, I'm thinking like binging with Babish style stuff, you know?
It's one of those things that I've like wanted to do, but it's also something that takes up, like editing takes up, for me, it takes up a lot of time. Like, and I know
more money if you're passing it off, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Time or money.
Right now my YouTube is kind of just a place where I start pushing VODs that I like. I would like to start doing like shorter videos because I like everyone talks about the YouTube algorithm and being like your videos have to be at least 10 minutes or else you're not gonna, no one's gonna watch your video or stuff like that. But I always wanted to create pretty much snippets of my content, like a minute video, like kind of like a rundown of what I made. But obviously, it's just going to take me some effort and some time for me to do so. I would like to, because I know that conversion from YouTube to Twitch is actually very much a thing that can happen pretty readily as long as you have a base there. So, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know Allison makes YouTube videos from time to time.
I've
too,
been
right?
doing a lot of YouTube, not cooking. We actually have a gaming YouTube, so all of our gaming content goes on YouTube. We're kind of backwards.
You guys do
So we're doing
everything.
How
gaming
fascinating.
and
Programmers.
programming on YouTube. We're weird. But yeah,
What a diverse
we-
array of content.
thank you. We used to have a separate YouTube channel where we did some cooking videos, but they were always specifically made for YouTube. And in my experience, but also fairly opinion heavy, I feel like just slapping your VODs over on YouTube doesn't translate that well.
Mm.
Like, it's not necessarily
Agreed.
a bad thing, but it's not really going to do much for you. So I feel like content specifically made for YouTube is going to work a lot better on YouTube rather than just
Typically.
trying to rehash your streaming content.
Mm,
So pretty
mhm.
much everything we do is specific for that platform.
Yeah, I think one thing that could work, because I'm always a big fan of getting the most out of your content, like making the most of it and redistributing it,
You've been doing a crazy good
repurposing
job
it.
of that on stream.
Yeah.
lately.
So I think, like, just thinking of, how cooking streams go, I think one thing that could work is taking your VODs and having someone, or maybe you, just editing it. So chopping down like, downtime when you're talking to chat, when it's kind of slow, and just kind of like, this is like how to cook this from A to B. Here's the stream, but it's just like all that, downtime is all removed from it. I think that could I think be okay, right? Like, I think it's worth doing. I think it's worth trying to grow that, because again, it's just another way to pull people onto Twitch. Like that, like YouTube to Twitch translates far better than I think Instagram does most of the time. So
Yeah.
You have stream decks?
Yes.
I don't.
Okay, there's just with Twitch by itself, you have the opportunity to create a marker on the stream, right? With the stream deck, you can also add that in to just be a one button thing. So it's probably one of the things like what you were talking about earlier, with it becoming second nature to move the camera and whatever. Marking the highlights that you want for critical points to make that like speed run through the cooking process might be something that you could add into the flow of the process, that you just hit the button at certain times and create the markers and don't have to do the rewatching the whole thing and finding the right, and then you just condense it down from there. Might be easier.
It would definitely be a mind shift, like a mindset shift, because like I've been wanting to mess around with TikTok and doing cooking videos, but I can't mentally separate myself from a stream to be like, I need to record this on my phone.
I know.
you need like 8 arms at this point. Just...
Right.
And I've always also kind of felt like, because I've done that a couple times, and it feels like I'm interrupting the stream to do something else.
That's
it feels kind of almost disrespectful to chat, of like, hold on, I'm going to ignore you for a minute because I've got to do something.
Right, exactly. That's how I feel.
Yeah, it makes me a little uncomfortable when I do that, so I kind of stopped. But I'm sure some people could make it work, and I know other streamers do stuff like that, and it seems to work for them. But it's just never really worked for me.
Yeah, that's actually interesting that you mentioned TikTok, because that, like, I don't know if you, that would be interesting, because it's something we talked about. What was that, last week or 2 weeks ago on the show?
2 weeks ago with Sub Daily.
Yeah, TikTok's just like blowing up in every direction right now. So it's, that could be a potential gold mine for new traffic to growing your brand, growing your stream, because a lot of eyes on it. A lot of people are using it. A lot of people at home, laying in bed, scrolling through the TikTok. So yeah, maybe that could be something worth considering to kind of integrate into your workflow.
There could be some value in that, like I totally hear you on the disrespecting chat thing, or like the breaking it apart, right? Like, but interestingly, in the act of doing it, of recording it or whatever it is that you're going to be doing to produce it, to push it to another platform, in this case TikTok, you would invariably end up promoting your TikTok on stream because you're taking that break to do it. Right. And then it kind of like feeds into your TikTok, and then TikTok back into as the popularity gains on whatever account you make on whatever platform. It could make its own kind of cycle.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's also pretty cool. I think so. Two things as a viewer. I think first of all, your viewers probably want to see you succeed, and they will probably understand, like, hey, I got to do this so that we can kind of grow the TikTok and get some new people. So I feel like there's going to be a level of understanding there. But also, I feel like as a viewer, it's kind of interesting to see like the behind the scenes. Like I saw this TikTok get made.
Yeah.
I'm here watching it happen. Like, I think that's always like, so long as you're not like just like staring at your phone for like 5 minutes and not talking, right? But if it's just like you're doing like a quick recording and you're talking it, like I don't know. I feel like that's not the worst thing to watch as a viewer.
Yeah, interesting.
True.
Give it a shot next stream.
Yeah. All
so
right.
mentally switch into it.
When you're
I just like forget to pick up my phone, like when
yeah. I mean, it's another thing to think about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, there's always another thing to think about.
So many things. So many things.
So many.
So are there any other platforms that you guys use to kind of get yourself out there?
Let's see. Blogging. Although I've been terrible at it, so don't use me as an example. But blogging can be a thing, and I've started to see more cooking streamers, start to have food blogs. I don't know if it's a huge thing quite yet, but I'm also surprised we haven't gotten a lot more food bloggers streaming.
Right.
Yeah.
But blogging, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. Twitter's a big one.
Twitter's a big one.
I don't know. Is there anything else you use?
I mean, I am starting to do a little bit more blogging because I did blogging for my photography for a little bit. It's just like, I mean, it's hard to write. Like, there's that whole joke about like cooking blogs where it's like, I'm gonna teach you this recipe about how to make pancakes. It's like, it was a cold day on December 25th. And it was like, oh, I'm gonna read through like but like I get it because it's like it's all like Google algorithm and stuff.
It's part algorithm, but it's also part of that community building because you want people to care about you so they come back and read your blog more. And if you're just slapping a recipe up there, then it's like, who are you? Why do I care?
Yeah,
Whereas if it's like you're telling part of it, I mean, it's kind of like streaming. You want to tell part of your story so people give a shit, as opposed to just like, I'm just here to cook food for you. You don't need to know anything about me.
Right.
So why am I wasting my time watching you?
Right.
So it's it does make sense, but also like I come from the food blogging world, so I'm a little biased in that direction. So yeah.
I mean, you mentioned Twitter. I like Twitter's big because like again, that's a place where a lot of streamers will be like, what the hell, there's cooking content on Twitch, and be like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing. Surprisingly, Facebook's been interesting because of the foodie groups that are in there. There's a lot of foodie groups on Facebook. I don't really like Facebook as a platform in general, but I'm like, sometimes you just gotta like bite the bullet and just do it. See what happens. But yeah, I don't think there's.
And I think for me also, I've created some platforms, so I'm a little biased in that direction.
You created a platform.
Well, okay, so I made belly.io, which some people in chat were talking about, and that's something where it aggregates all the cooking streamers that I know of. So it's trying to get more attention to all the other cooking streamers, because people always used to complain that like you can't find cooking streamers. It's so hard to know who does cooking streams. So that's something that always shows everybody. So you can search through there, you can browse through there. So I've tried to use that as a way to help out other cooking streamers, and get a little more attention there. And
this is boss.
Yeah.
Thank you. I also made a website called Fridge, which is more on the food blogging side, and it's FRIDGG. And Ella, you might actually be interested in this.
Would you link that if I give you a permit?
Sure, I can do that really quick.
Yeah.
This is double
I don't know.
boss.
Oh, it worked. Okay.
That work.
Okay, you know what?
So-
Y'all are coming back on for a third episode.
But yeah, Ella, you might be interested in that one because that is all about sharing your food photos. I actually made that a long time ago, and I really should tell more people about it, but I've like not mentioned it to anybody. But yeah, so that's something where if you're taking food photos, that you can share your photos, you can link back to your stream or your blog post or whatever. So yeah.
I'm so hungry.
I'm
This is
sorry.
a
This
problem.
ruined me.
Belly.io is really great too because we had mentioned earlier that like cooking streamers tend to flip between a couple categories too. So sometimes you instead of having to sort through like a bunch of through just chatting to find a cooking streamer, you just pop on the Belly and then you're just like, oh yeah, they're in this category today, but I can find them pretty easily. So
Yeah, that's actually
Cool.
interesting. And I know we wanted to talk about that. So, and this is not unique to cooking streams, but a lot of people will avoid streaming in their like niche directory and go into just chatting instead because just chatting is massive. It's definitely saturated, but it's a growing, giant, booming directory. Whereas, these more niche directories like the talk shows and cooking and creative and stuff like that, like, there's not a lot of discoverability unless the whole directory is doing well. So do you guys stream outside of the cooking directory?
I do from time to time, mainly when I'm starting up stream and when I'm finishing stream. So when I start up stream, I always want to chat with my community and see how they're doing and like talk about whatever's happened during the day or like what food day it is. Like it's National Blueberry Pie Day.
Is that a day?
I'm sure it is.
Probably.
I'm
For sure it is. National Waffle Day the other day. So I mean, like, and that's one way like people will be like, my title is always just what I'm making for the day, and maybe that'll bring people in. And then at the end of the stream, if I have like a decent amount of viewers, like I just have this massive picture of what I finished making on my screen, and I'll pop back into just chatting and be like, what's this picture of delicious food on this thumbnail?
Clickbait.
Like, it's a little bit of clickbaity, but like, I mean, it's not disingenuous.
No, I'm not saying it's wrong. It's a good idea.
Nothing wrong with good clickbait.
Yeah, but yeah,
Especially when
from
it's
time to
food.
time, I'll switch around just because I like new eyes on my content.
Yeah.
Like it's just you want people to see what you're doing, and if they're not in food and drink, they're probably in another category looking around and be like, oh wait, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Because I'm from a time when cooking was part of creative.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So like, it's just like that's just in my mindset.
Way back in the old days.
Yeah.
Back in the olden days.
Back when there was no affiliateship. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've kind of gone back and forth, but settled in food and drink just because I'm lazy. But it's just easier not to do anything, just to leave it there. But it's one of those things where you want to support the food and drink because we're a small community and you want food and drink to grow. But at the same time, nobody knows about food and drink. Nobody searches for food and drink. So occasionally it can be a really good strategy to go into just chatting, especially when you've got like good viewership, to kind of bring more people into the idea of cooking streams existing on Twitch, because it's still so much. I mean, we've touched on this a few times already. It's such a big thing of like, cooking's on Twitch? What?
Yeah.
You make food on Twitch? Twitch is a gaming platform. So like so many people still don't realize that there's so much other stuff on Twitch that's not just gaming.
Yeah.
But also so many people watch just chatting. So sometimes that can be a really good thing to say, hey, we exist too. There are other things. Come watch us. And then once you pull them in, then it's like,
about
hey, look,
just chatting, right?
there's more food and drink people here. There's more cooking streams.
Yeah.
So I'm never upset by people who don't stream in food and drink, because I think it's definitely a balance. Because if we all just stay in there all the time, unfortunately, most of us are not big enough that it's like, oh, we're pulling a lot of people into food and drink. So we still need to find ways to get the rest of Twitch and the rest of the internet to know that we exist.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's a hard balance.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the mass to create the gravity where it's going to pull from elsewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a double-edged sword. It's like, yeah, if you stay in there,
Catch.
the growth is very limited, but if you leave, then the whole directory is not growing because then there's less people in it. Yeah, I think like I really do think like if there was like an injection of like a big streamer, like maybe a big YouTuber or a celebrity coming on the Twitch, like if Twitch has brought someone on to kind of like elevate the directory as a whole, like it could definitely shoot off. Like and like Hunter said, Hunter made a great point. Right now, a lot of people are cooking. Everyone's baking bread all of a sudden. So I think there's like a good opportunity for cooking to really just come up on Twitch. And you know, we never know what will happen. It could happen overnight, just like music did.
True. I do feel like it would need to be somebody that cares about the category though, because not anything against big YouTubers or anything, but they'll come in and stream and everybody will just watch them. But if they're not rating other cooking streamers, if they don't really understand the like how Twitch works and all of that, then all of that viewership tends to stop at them most of the time.
True.
So like even when like Babish was on Twitch for a while, and I think he's stopped. I don't think he's done it for a while. But I don't feel like that really benefited the cooking stream community that much, at least not that I saw, because he wasn't really a Twitcher. So he didn't fully understand, you know, and become a part of the community. It was just kind of like he does his thing and then there's the rest of us. So I don't know, your experience with that might have been different, but I didn't feel like it was a big like, hey, Twitch cooking is now a thing.
Yeah, he showed up and I was like, oh, maybe this is the moment.
Yeah, like we all hope.
Yeah, we're all
excited.
But like yeah, it was just like this is YouTube Live on Twitch pretty much the way it worked out. Because I feel like also Babish is great. His recorded content is great. I don't know how it translated to him being in the kitchen doing it live though. So his production quality is like
it wasn't. I mean, yeah,
great.
his quality is amazing.
Yeah.
But streaming is so different from filming for YouTube because streaming, such a big part of that is the interaction with chat, and it's all about that interaction. Because otherwise, what is the point of streaming? And a lot of people who come from other platforms don't always understand that. They want to do it the same way that they film things, and it's like it's not quite the same. Kind of missing the point a little bit there.
Yeah, it goes in both directions. I've tried to make some pre-recorded YouTube content, and I'm like, all I want to do is just like talk to people. Right? How do I do this alone?
Yeah. What is this
madness?
It's a very different both ways.
So, talking more about the directory, are there like peak times do you find, peak days for the audience? Like are there any sweet spots for people that want to get into streaming, picking time slots?
I don't stream on Sundays anymore, but I always found Sundays to be like pop in the food and drink category. I just recently stopped streaming on just for like my own city. But for some weekends were usually pretty good for me. I don't know about you.
But also to go off of what you just said, the best time to stream is the time that works for you.
Yeah.
Because if you can't be consistent with it, then nobody's going to watch you because you're all over the place.
Right.
And being consistent with your streaming time builds this habit for people. Because you can stream at the best time, but if people already have the habit of watching somebody else or they don't know you at all, or then nobody's going to watch you. So it's more about doing what works best for you, because I feel like there are streamers who stream at all sorts of random ass times that they can get really good audiences because they're consistent.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point for sure. So I think I feel like I had one more question about this. Oh yeah, so what about resources for streamers? So you mentioned your site belly.io. Are there teams? Are there Discord communities that like cooking streamers can hang out in and join?
You want to talk about it?
Sure. The Bone and Stream team that we
Mhm.
are both a part of, that's run by Chef de Partie, who's
Mhm.
another partner cooking streamer on Twitch. That pretty much most of the cooking streamers, not
Mhm.
all of us, but most of us are part of that stream team.
Yep.
And they do have a Discord where they're constantly talking about food stuff and bringing in new streamers and all of that. Um, yeah, we got some hashtag Team Bone
Yeah.
in the chat. Um, I'm trying to think what other resources do we have?
Uh, honestly, the two I was gonna mention is Belly and Bone In. So I mean, like that's where we all like kind of congregate as far
Mhm.
as food streamers are concerned.
Yeah,
Mhm.
So
yeah.
yeah.
Is the Discord like open to everyone to join, or is it just for the team? Or
Yeah, they have two sections. They have a section that is open to the public,
Hmm,
as far as I know, and then they have a section that is like team members only.
Mhm.
awesome. Do you have
So,
a link to that by any chance for the people that are watching?
let me see if I can dig it up real quick.
Okay.
All right. Maybe you can continue on. I don't know. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, Hunter, unless you had anything else, we're ready to wrap up.
The one other question that I had was the cost of the meals that you make.
Mm,
Like
budgeting.
selecting, yes, and in the same way that game selection kind of works, selecting the recipe that you're shooting for. Do you go for like, particular challenges where it's like making a fancy meal in under $6, and other times when you're like, hey, if we reach this sub goal, I'll make $100 meal or whatever. I have no idea what goes into that.
For the most part, for me, I'm always trying to balance the amount of food I'm making, the cost of those ingredients to make said food, and then spreading that out over a month, because I don't want to be throwing like $1,000 into cooking
Yeah.
streams, like if
Yeah.
I'm not like potentially pulling that amount, because that just doesn't make any sense, right?
Right.
Like I'm not gonna be buying filet mignon every day, and I don't think anyone. I mean, I'm sure there's someone out there that just buys filet mignon every day, but like for the most part, most of us don't, right? So I'm always trying to find stuff that's also readily available, because like I don't know, like you're not gonna find tiger prawns in every single market, So it's just it's definitely something I have to think about
Mm.
for streams, and then for example, what you were talking about doing special streams, it's definitely a sub goal thing. I've been on the hook for making lechon, which is like whole roasted suckling pig, for like months now, and it's just the logistics behind it are
That's a lot.
a mess. But that was a sub goal that had happened. I know I still owe my
I want to be
community
invited over for that one.
yeah, come on, just fly on
Yeah, if
over
you guys
one,
need a
just go
taste
over.
tester, you got extra food. I mean, I'll help you clean it up.
It
Collaboration.
makes a lot of food. Yeah, for me, I don't think about it consciously that much. I do try to make sure that we're not making like ridiculous amounts of food or too much of the type of food that we're not going to eat. Like I definitely try not to overdo it on sweets, because like just the two of us, we're not going to be eating a ton, like a huge layer cake or something every week. So in that sense, I try to balance things, and then it's also just not going for the obviously super expensive things, because I'm not trying to break the bank
Mhm.
doing cooking streams. Like it does cost money to do these cooking streams every week. But yeah, so I just generally tend to go for normal seeming ingredients and not the fancy stuff. Maybe once in a while, but for the most part, it's like what's more normal feeling,
Mhm.
like price wise, normal feeling stuff
Yeah.
that we can buy.
I feel like, right now, especially like actually doing budget meals is more appealing. Like, how can you make like a full meal with like the smallest amount of money, right? Like just kind of like, being smart about like what you're buying and stuff. So I feel like those type of streams are interesting too.
The budget meals,
Yeah.
pantry meals.
Yeah, like shelf stable stuff, and
Yeah.
Right.
stuff that can be
And
frozen
also,
and
like,
stuff.
on the budget side of things too, you could do like 4 different types of meals with the same basic ingredients, where you're only using portions of,
Mm.
right? So you buy like a whole head of cauliflower, but you don't put a whole head of cauliflower into the first recipe, you're spreading it out across
Mhm.
4 different recipes.
Yeah. It's like when you buy that one head of cabbage and you don't know what to do with the rest of
What do
it.
you do with the whole
Use a
head of
quarter of it
cabbage?
for one
Yeah.
recipe.
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah. That could be kind of interesting too.
So, unfortunately, we do have to wrap up. We do have a show after this. Your Brand, Your Business will be on next. So don't go anywhere if you're watching in chat. You're going to be able to ask questions about finances if you have any questions or need some advice, some general advice. And I think also Galen is going to be raising money for St. Jude. So I think he's going to be playing Risk of Rain. It's going to be a very chill stream. So if you want to hang out, don't go anywhere. That's going to start right after this. But first, I want to thank you guys for joining us on the show today. It was awesome. I think we actually did a good job of covering most of everything today. So
And we didn't crash Twitch.
yes,
Yes.
you guys will be invited back for not breaking Twitch a second time. So, if you guys can tell us where we can find you, what you're up to, Hunger Service, starting with you. Let's do some shout outs.
You can find me on Twitter at Hunger_Service, and on Instagram as TheHungerService, and obviously on Twitch here as twitch.tv/TheHungerService. And I'll be cooking on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday this week at 4 p.m. Eastern.
So
Awesome.
I'm SushiDey on Twitter and Instagram and Twitch on every weekend at 1 p.m., 1:30 p.m. Pacific, doing cooking streams. I'm also on YouTube as Sushi Codes. So that's more on the gaming programming side of things. Yeah.
Awesome. Wait, so you stream on 2 separate Twitch channels?
I do, but
Okay.
Sushi Codes has been not so much.
Gotcha.
That's more of a YouTube thing.
Oh,
Mostly
okay.
YouTube
Gotcha.
for Sushi Codes.
Awesome. Hunter, what about you?
I am the Hunter Wild most places, sometimes with a TV afterward, like on Twitter. You can find me right here every Monday on this very show next to my amazing co-host, Lowco. She and I run Streamer Squared together. This week, I've been going so hard in the paint with Deep Rock Galactic, which had a 2-year cycle through early access and just launched, and I'm just so into it. And Maneater comes out next week.
Oh,
Or this
yes.
Friday.
Yes.
This Friday. So I'm gonna be going really, really hard into that one too. I'm so excited for it. So good. What about you, Loco?
You can find me at twitch.tv/LOWCO, Loco2525 on Twitter. I do mostly just chatting. I talk about gaming news. I'll talk about the streaming industry. I talk about I do movie trailer reactions. We do a lot of chatting and silliness, and then we play games. We are gonna be playing Maneater.
Play games.
We'll play games. We'll do something. I got some plans for tomorrow that we might be playing something tomorrow. Maybe we'll see. But yeah. So if you guys enjoyed this show, make sure to follow the Streamer Square channel. Follow us here. We do content Monday through Wednesday. We have actually a brand new segment that we're doing on the Twitch channel. I'm really excited to announce that we are launching workshops here on Streamer Square. So once a week, Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, we are going to be doing a workshop about some specific topic related to streaming. This week, our first workshop is making a merch store with stream elements. So if you've been wanting to set up your own merch store, we're going to show you how to do it really easily with stream elements. So that's going to be this Wednesday, right after Hotfix. We hope to see you guys there. Upcoming, we have workshops about setting up your Twitch stream, your setting up on YouTube, and tips for setting up a YouTube channel. And we've got much more in the works. So we hope to see you guys during that. That is going to be Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. So really excited about that.
So excited.
So yeah, other than that, your brand, your business starts right after this. So don't go anywhere, and we'll see you next week for the stream scene.
Bye, friends.